The Starboard Wingboard range makes getting into winging that much more accessible for everyone. The Wingboard range has always been about having a direct control over the foil. They're wide and stable to get up and flying with ease, and they're a great board for new people getting into the sport to have a stable platform that has efficient release and forgiving touchdowns. The new Wingboard range has several key changes which just improves the performance for those that get into sport, those that are intermediate, and also as you get to the smaller boards and more advanced. The Wingboard range has a number of sizes from lower volume to higher volume. The wingboard I have here is the 7.2 by 32 at 140 litres, and this is offered in the new limited series construction. So the wingboard, what is unique about this board? Well, it's fairly compact, which means that you have a very good stability when you're on the board, and before you get up and flying, you can get on, it's nice and balanced, and you have a wide area, which means you have that forgiveness when you're about to kind of get up and flying. It's nice and stable, which gives you more control over the foil. So the Wingboard changes for this year, well, we've actually pulled the nose in slightly. So more narrow nose means it's a bit more efficient for takeoff, and when you're up in the air, it's a little bit more forgiving. When you're turning the board, you're less likely to catch the board through turns. We've also extended the length of these boards. So not only is the nose slightly more narrow, it's a little bit longer, and that actually extends through the rocker line of the board. So now you've got a longer rocker and a slightly more curved rocker in the nose, which means when you're coming down from flight, it's much easier to recover from touchdowns. When you're in the standing area of the board, you've got a big kind of parallel wide midsection, and you've got a nice deep center concave, which means that you're standing closer to the water and closer to the foil. So you're getting the volume distribution on the sides and the rails of the board, which gives you that flotation before you get up and riding. But in the middle of the board, you're lower down, which gives you more control as your center of gravity is closer to the board, and so you have more stability. One of the most unique features, and is a clear concept from the beginning of the Wingboard range, is really making sure you have the most direct connection. So that gives you control and stability and response over the foil. So again, what we focused on here is creating a thin area where you stand over the foil and giving you the volume that you need to be able to balance on the board out on the rail. So with that, you've got more control and connection over the foil. You have multiple foot straps to really adjust where you want to stand on these boards, and depending on the foil you use, if it's strong wind, light wind, you can really move and adjust these positions to accustom to your style of riding and the conditions. Towards the tail of the board, you've got quite a thick tail again to balance the board from nose to tail. So we've added volume in the kind of the top surface of the tail, because we've got these deep cutaways at the back, which helps you release. So the tail volume helps balance the board when you're in the water. Some of the new upgrades to the Wingboard this year, well, we've got a kind of more pronounced V in the nose of the board, which means you've got faster, earlier takeoff and is more forgiving on touchdowns. And because you've got that slightly longer length and more exaggerated rocker, again, it helps coming down from flight. In the middle of the board, you have a nice boxy rail, which gives you that stability, especially before you get up and riding. As we get to the tail of the board, we're taking the learnings from windsurfing and introducing these long cutaways. And what that does is it means you've got a narrower area in the middle of the board. So the board feels a more narrow area for a cleaner and faster release, yet you still have the wings from the cutaway, which gives you that stability and balance. So as you get up and you're getting some glide, you've got a flat rocker through over the foil, which means you get that glide, and you've got the release as it starts to gain speed from these wings. So the water is gonna have a narrower area to get up and flying that much quicker. We've also, on the tail, given it a bit more of a pronounced V in the cutaway. We've also added on the bigger board, which is a 7.2, 140 litres. You now have a center 16-inch box, which means that you can practice for those that aren't getting up and foiling, or if you're in shallower waters and you can't foil, you can put a drake center fin and 2 drake fins at the back, which gives you enough kind of upwind control to be able to wing and foil with fins. We use 14-inch foil boxes, which gives you plenty of room to be able to adjust the foil depending on which brand or the size of the wings that you're using. And we also open the boxes at the very back of the box, so you have all the length forwards to be able to really adjust where you want it. So the Wingboard range is offered in a number of sizes. You have the smaller sizes from 50 litres all the way up to 140 litres here. So the smaller sizes are going to be much more shorter and compact. So you have a great board for those that want a free ride board that's stable. You have that direct connection over foil. And then as you get bigger, you have more glide for those that are wanting more stable or heavier riders. We have the blue carbon, which is our lightest construction for those that really want the best and kind of premium performance. Then we have the limited series, which is this here. And we have the ASAP for schools, centres, or those that want the kind of soft EVA rail, full EVA deck, if they're getting into sport and want something that's really forgiving and not intimidating.